Security is becoming more and more relevant these days, both in terms of online security as well as physical security, and it's good to see that new technologies like high-resolution home security cameras like the Nest IQ are more accessible than ever. And the Nest IQ is the latest camera released by Nest and has some notable new features compared to the previous Nest Cam and Nest Cam Outdoor. But are these new features enough to justify the current price tag of $300, both in terms of whether you're getting your first security camera or upgrading a current Nest Cam? Obviously, that's something you're gonna have to decide for yourself, but hopefully this video will help. First of all, let's take a quick look at the physical design of the new Nest Cam IQ. It's much bigger than the regular Nest Cam with a form factor pretty much the same as the more recent outdoor Nest Cam, except for the mounting stand. The IQ's stand is not removable, though it does have a threaded mount on the bottom for like a tripod. And the stand is adjustable on 2 axes, so you can tilt it up and down almost a full 180 degrees on the Y-axis and rotate it on the Z-axis. But you cannot tilt it sideways on the X-axis, and this might only be a problem if you're mounting it on a wall, because if you want to point it at an area not directly in front of it, then the view of the camera will have to be tilted. So I'm not sure why they didn't just make the stand removable so you can use it on your own mount if you want. Or they could have just included the magnetic mount like they did on the Nest Cam Outdoor. But besides that, if you're just using it like a typical use case, you're just putting it on a bookshelf or something, it's completely fine. But now let's talk about the most important thing, the image quality. One of the major selling points of the IQ is that it has an upgraded 4K sensor for more detailed video, especially while zooming, as well as the ability to distinguish between different human faces for so-called person alerts. But does the better sensor make a difference? Well, not really, it turns out. You see, even though the camera has a 4K sensor, it doesn't record 4K video. Wait a minute, you might ask, then what's the point? Exactly. I assume what's happening is the camera captures the raw 4K video off the sensor and uses that to process the facial recognition feature, but the 4K video never leaves the camera. It's downsampled to 1080p just like the other Nest Cams and is streamed that way. So yes, because the video is super sampled from 4K, it's slightly sharper, which means you can zoom in a little bit further, but you're still just zooming in on better 1080p video, which is extremely compressed anyway. Now yes, I think it is really dumb that they did this, but even if I don't agree, I do know why they did this. It's all about bandwidth. Like I mentioned, all the Nest Cams stream the video in a highly compressed format. The regular Nest at a maximum quality has only bitrate of 1.2 megabits per second, and the IQ has a slightly higher 2 megabits per second. Even for 1080p resolution, those bit rates are extremely low if you compare them to, say, a video you record on your phone. But they have to be, because even at that low bit rate, that's 300 to 400 gigabytes a month of bandwidth or more. And as I've said in other videos, resolution means nothing if it's not backed up by a higher bit rate, because otherwise you're not getting any more actual video data. So for it to even make sense to offer 4K video streaming, they'd probably have to quadruple the bitrate, meaning you'd be using up terabytes of bandwidth a month potentially. For someone with a slow internet plan or a data cap, it's just not feasible to even use it. However, I really wish they would at least offer the option to stream at a higher quality for those of us who can handle it, even if it did mean paying more for the cloud storage. So the question becomes, if the actual video output isn't that much higher quality, then why did they bother making this camera? Because really the only extra ability at this point it offers is facial detection, which, if I'm correct, is not possible in older cameras because they don't have the high resolution raw video to work with. Though I will say that the face detection seems to actually work okay. It's at least able to pick out faces, but for a while it might think that the same person is multiple people if it sees you from different angles. And I think this feature can actually be useful for certain cases. For example, if you have a multi-person household, you don't need to get a notification every time it sees a person when you're not home, because it's probably just a family member. But maybe you don't want to disable notifications altogether in case someone breaks in or something. With person alerts, you could just get a notification if it sees someone it doesn't think it recognizes. Whether it's someone breaking in or your kids having friends over while you're at work, you'd probably want to know about both. So you can probably imagine a few situations where having facial detection is good, where it's expected that trusted people will be going through a monitored area and you only care if it's someone you don't know. Just be careful if your TV is in the camera's view, because every time a person was on the screen when I had it, it thought that it was a new person. So you can just exclude that from your zones. I thought it was pretty funny. Also, the Nest IQ has a feature called Super Sight, where if you're looking on the phone, it will zoom in on the part of the video where it sees a face and track it. It's a nice idea, but it still just uses the same resolution video. I wish they would take advantage of that 4K sensor and at least take still images at full resolution. That could be a compromise that allows them to use low bandwidth video, but still capture high resolution images when it might be important. Two more things I need to go over are the night vision quality and the HDR video claim. With the nighttime video, the IQ also uses infrared lights on the front, and it seems to be about the same quality as the regular Nest, both in terms of the brightness of the LEDs and the video quality. As for the HDR, I was expecting that to just be a BS buzzword they were using, but the IQ does actually seem to have a significantly better dynamic range than the regular Nest, and I think they're using the term HDR very generously here, but I guess they just wanted to be able to say that it's better than the regular one. You'll see here that in the same scene, there are very bright windows and an open door leading into a dark bedroom. While the windows are still blown out on the HQ, you can actually see into the dark room a bit, including the outline of some paintings on the wall, whereas on the regular Nest Cam, it's completely black besides the bed. So I'll say that the HDR claim holds up. All right, so now that we know all about the capabilities of the Nest Cam IQ, we can consider the question, is it worth it? And that depends on whether you already have a regular Nest Cam or not. If you already have a Nest Cam, I definitely think it's not worth it to upgrade. You'd basically be paying $300 just for the facial recognition notifications, because again, the video quality is almost the same despite the improved sensor. If you don't have a Nest Cam already and you're choosing between this and the regular one, I'd still be hesitant to suggest the IQ. On Amazon, the current price of the regular cam is $166, nearly half the price. I just don't think the camera's features can justify paying so much more. So my overall verdict is that the Nest IQ is really disappointing. The 4K sensor is wasted being used on highly compressed, low resolution video, and the facial recognition feature is only marginally better than normal notifications. Now, if the price tag doesn't bother you and you absolutely must have that extra bit of video quality, no matter how small, sure, go with the IQ. But otherwise, save yourself a bunch of money and go with the regular Nest Cam. Or even use the money you would have spent on a second camera, like the outdoor cam, which is the same price as the regular cam. So that's all I have to say about the Nest Cam IQ. You guys can let me know what you think down in the comments. If you agree, disagree, or if it helped you make a decision, I'd love to hear about it. If you want to keep watching, I'll put some other videos right here. You can just click on those. And if you want to subscribe, I make new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.